Club at 22, the Rangers podcast, is supported by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Go to manscaped.com and get 20% off plus free shipping with code CLUB at 22. Your balls will thank you. Hello everyone and welcome to Club Reaction as Rangers draw 1 each with Aberdeen at Pittodrie here on Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. Welcome to the review of the Clancy show. Now for the record, I am not going to say that Clancy is completely to blame for Rangers 10-man Rangers dropping points to Aberdeen tonight, but he certainly did not help matters. He is a dismal referee and he is not good enough to referee any top flight Scottish game, if any game at all. I am your host, Scott Carney, and joining me to discuss a rather underwhelming night is Scott Gemmell. How are you?
I've been better, if I'm being completely honest. I started the day off pretty decent, looking forward to seeing the Rangers back, and then right now I'm just feeling really deflated.
Yes, very deflated. Ryan Haymarsh, how are you?
Same as all, boys, same as all. A bit scunnered with that tonight, but as I said in the pod during the week, I was getting confident, and that's exactly what happens when you start getting confident, you get a kick in the swingers. So, yes, probably half expecting that this evening, but let's dissect it and see what happens.
Yes, let's dissect it and see what happens. Yeah, obviously there's a number of things we need to speak about tonight in terms of that game. And we will come back to Mr. Clancy because it boggles the mind. It really does boggle the mind how this man is left responsible to referee a football match. He is incompetent at best. So we will do the starting 11. It was McGregor, Tavernier, Goldson, Bassey, Barisic, Kamara, a debut for Sands, Kent, Hadji, Wright and Morelos. The subs was a bigger bench, obviously now due to there being 5 subs allowed, was McLaughlin, Simpson, Balogun, King, Lundstrom, Bacuna, McCann, Itten and Sakala. Scotia, Sands is the main one, I think. Obviously, we weren't aware at the time when we did the preview pod that Scott Arfield was out and Steve Davis was out because the press conference hadn't been yet. But Gio must like what he sees in Sands to put him in for a game like this.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the team we all picked apart from Sands, and obviously if Arfield had been playing, or that was fit even, he would have been in. I've got no doubt about that. So when I heard the press conference the other day and was listening to like what Gio was saying, I was like, right, who's going to fit in there? And I was like, I don't really want a Lundstrom and Kamara in the middle of the park again. So it never ever occurred to me about Sands, if I'm being completely honest. So it was a wee bit of a surprise to see him in there. But Gio must know a lot about him because obviously he's got Claudio obviously over watching an awful lot more of the MLS, and so yeah, he must like him, particularly when you consider that Lundstrom's still on the bench and you're bringing Sands in and you've got Arfield out, Davis out, Jack out, Aribo away at the AFCONs. That seems to be like Lundstrom way down the pecking order.
It does, Ryan. I'll come to you with that. Obviously, we've seen Lundstrom later on in the game, but we'll come on to that when we discuss the game. But it doesn't look good for Lundstrom, the fact that he's been training with the team a long time. He's the kind of player that plays in that role, especially with the way that Rangers lined up tonight, but we still went with Sands. We could be reading too much into it, and Gio might just be trying to get him up to speed with the Scottish game and might as well fling him into a game like this. But what's your thoughts? Were you happy to see Sands? What do you think it means for Lundstrom?
It's hard to say that I was happy to see Sands now after how he's performed tonight, because I know we'll go into looking at the game a bit more in depth in a few minutes, but I think he struggled tonight. I think in hindsight, it wasn't the best game to put him into. But yeah, in terms of Lundstrom, it looks like it's been confirmed of what we thought, that Lundstrom's well down the pecking order with Gio. Obviously doesn't suit Gio's style of play. And I do think Rangers are looking to offload him in this window. So I think he was maybe forced in to bring him on tonight. But it probably won't do us any harm if he's came on and he's got some minutes in his leg and keep him fresh, because yeah, I do think Lundstram is on his way out at Rangers. But like I said, I've said before, I would keep Lundstram. I think he is a decent player, but he doesn't fit this team. He doesn't fit this style that Gio wants to do. So Sands looks as if he's a kind of more longer term option, and I'm sure he'll settle in. But yeah, I was surprised to see him in the starting lineup. I thought Gio would maybe hold off into the Stirling Albion game to give Sands a run out.
It might have forced Gio's hand, the fact of what's happened with Arfield and Davis. I think it maybe forced his hand in, to put Sands into the game. I was slightly shocked, and I can't disagree with what we're saying about Lundstram. It doesn't look great for him, and if he's not part of the plans, we've mentioned it many times before, the amount of wage that he's going to be taking. It's probably best to try and move him on if he's not going to be a regular contributor to the team. So into the game itself, Rangers would set up, as you would expect, a 4-2-3-1. Sands and Kamara were the two that were sitting. Hadji was the 10. Wright and Kent were playing as the wide players. Hadji was booked on 5 minutes for not being the correct distance back from a free kick. It's not really a booking, but Clancy is the ref, and you're just going to give him the opportunity to book a Rangers player, and that kind of set the tone for the rest of the game. I think the only person that didn't get booked tonight was me, because I wasn't in Aberdeen, but I'd imagine if I was in Aberdeen I would have still got booked. Aberdeen go close with a great effort, to be fair to them. A shot from the edge of the box just clips outside of the post. It definitely had McGregor beat. Kent then fails to capitalise on a careless bit of play by Aberdeen and losing possession, as his shot is a rather poor one. Easy pass into the front line for Aberdeen again, leads to a shot for them, but McGregor saves it comfortably. It was a bit of a hectic first 10 minutes, Scott. Rangers really didn't stamp any sort of control onto the game, and it looked like we really couldn't settle. And at this point especially, I know it's only 10 minutes in, it's 10 minutes into his debut. I'm going to caveat this by saying that I will give him praise later on, but the first 10 minutes, Sands looked completely lost.
To be honest, the first 5 minutes I thought Rangers started pretty brightly. We looked okay, and then had you get that booking. Now, I'm not even giving Clancy credit here, because it still wasn't a yellow card for me, but I think he's given the yellow card because Hadji's raised his leg rather than just being 2 yards away, because what can Hadji do at that point if Ferguson's just going to bluter the ball off him? So I think he's given it for raising his leg, but at the same time, Hadji's doing that to kind of protect himself from getting rattled right in the swingers, as Ryan called him earlier. But yeah, this kind of set the tone, this. But then after that 5 minutes, Rangers kind of fell right out the game. The game got dead scrappy. We couldn't keep a hold of it. And that was Kamara. Both Kamara and Sands just couldn't keep hold of it. Get dead scrappy. And yeah, you just kind of, at this point, I knew it was going to be that type of game all for the whole match, which it pretty much turned out to be honest.
Yeah, Ryan, Aberdeen started to set the tone a wee bit in terms of they just wanted to make it a battle, and Rangers kind of fell into it.
Yeah, we always fall into it, Scott. We always fall into that. If teams want to play kind of the dirty game, and if you want to, we can all get frustrated with Scott Brown, but we know we've played against Scott Brown for so many years now. You know what you get from him. You don't get football. You get throwing yourself about the ground. You get smile on your face. You need to be able to beat that side of the game. You need to have that shithousery and that streetwise side of your game on point when you go up to places like Pittodrie. And we knew we were going to be facing that side of the game, and it really frustrates me about the Rangers players. I'm not wise to that. And I know, I think Clancy's a shocking referee, and I think he's a shocker tonight. But I do think Hadji's been a bit stupid there, just standing and lifting his leg, because you will Clancy cannot wait to book players. He's one of these referees that's got obviously a bit of an ego. And I just feel that we are not, when teams, as you say, are up for a battle like that, or a bit of shithousery, we fall short on that. And we've fell short on it for a long time. And it's not the first time we've seen it. So that's a bit I'm disappointed with Rangers, that they just weren't a bit more clever and a bit more cute with aspects of the game like that tonight.
Yeah, and you lead me perfectly on to the next bit of the match, mate, when we have the Morelos and Scott Brown talking to from Clancy. That happens every time Morelos and Scott Brown play on the same pitch. Now, we all know Scott Brown is a fanny. every Rangers player knows that Scott Brown is a fanny. Morelos should know that Scott Brown is a fanny, but that particular fanny, he should just leave him alone. Shouldn't go anywhere near him. Don't even humour him. Just get on with your game and continue to play. I was going to say it later on, I'll say it now. Scott Brown did nothing that entire game apart from wind up players. He's not got any football ability left. All he has is his lack of class, and Rangers played into that tonight. Completely played into it, and Clancy adores Scott Brown. So it was always going to happen, this. It's just a stupid thing that we've been dragged into tonight and really made it difficult for ourselves. See, I'm going off already on one. Bring it back down, Scott. We've got plenty of time to get into that. Jesus, man. But yeah, so we're approaching the 20-minute mark, and then after a bit of a questionable challenge from McGregor, as a long ball over the top caused a bit of a problem out of nowhere. A crossfield pass from right to Kent. Kent swings in an absolute beautiful cross right into the path of Hadji, and Hadji slots it home. Poor defender from an Aberdeen point of view, but it's just what the doctor ordered for us. A great goal, Scott. Great cross from Kent and a great finish from Hadji. I was a wee bit worried at our lack of control, but if you've got lack of control in a game, the best way to try and control it is score a goal.
Yeah, it was brilliant, particularly where it just started from, the turnaround and... What did...
Sorry, I think, Scotia, you've got to play. Carry on.
No, Scotia, right, genuinely, I jumped in front of you there. I was desperate, obviously, to answer the question. But yeah, I'll take it. It was the perfect response to that McGregor incident where he was alleged to have taken the boy out for a penalty, which was Sky Sports when he showed up for now to Christmas. It was never a penalty. But yeah, it was a perfect response from Rangers, and that's, you'd be the same as me. I was screaming at the telly, this is the perfect time to score, go up there and score, go up there and score. And it was a brilliant breakaway from Rangers, but we finished it, and that's like a kind of difference under Gio, where we are breaking away and we're taking our chances. Obviously, we didn't get a lot of chances tonight, so that kind of shows you why we dropped points. But yeah, we broke away and we took our chance, and it was a great finish by Hadji. Obviously, I've given him a bit of stick in the last pod, but he really got himself into a good area and took it well.
Yeah, he definitely did. Scotia, I'll come to you for your thoughts on the goal. I thought Hadji was really good in where he was for the finishing of that, goal. But Ryan Kent as well. The ball from Ryan Kent is sublime.
Oh, it's a brilliant cross in from Kent, and as well, the right's ball over to Kent was really good. Mm-hmm. And Hadji's where he needs to be, because if you go all the way back, it's Morelos that slips in right. So you know, Hadji's seen that and knows where he needs to be. It's 3 or 4 yards out. It's a good goal. Aberdeen, that's poor defending. I think you can see Ross McCrory points to David Bates and goes, "You take him." And that kind of proves to me that Gerrard was right, that Ross McCrory's not really a centre-half player. But no, a great goal. Yeah, Kent's ball again was great. Reminiscent of the ball that Barisic put in a couple of weeks back, but for the goal on Boxing Day. Kind of reminiscent a wee bit of that, and the quality that it was. But yeah, like Ryan said there, just to go back from what happened 30 seconds later, the turnaround straight up the park, knock it away, and it gets everyone fuming at that point.
Definitely.
Apart from us, obviously.
Yeah, apart from us. Obviously, our wee error there and who we were talking to just kind of sums up the night that we've had, gentlemen. It's been a long time since we've had a fucking falling over each other like that. It's been a while. But aye, just kind of sums up tonight. Even after we scored, the Rangers still don't really control the game. But again, this seems to be becoming a thing with Gio, where we're quite happy for teams to have the ball. And in fairness, Aberdeen didn't do too much for the rest of that half, to be honest. There was a few times they were getting down the wings too easy, in my opinion. Our two fullbacks were struggling to stop any cross coming into the box at all, and must have been pleasing Alan McGregor, the fact that was happening, but we were just really struggling to get anything going as well. And it's the obvious point out to make, and I know it is, and Ali would be saying the same thing if he was here, so I can't actually believe the words are going to come out of my mouth, but there was just a massive Aribo-shaped hole tonight where we couldn't get anything to stick, and no matter how much Morelos tried, he couldn't quite get it to come off for him. But we did eventually we got a bit of time on the ball when we started to see Sands as well. Sands started playing a few passes. We tried a few passes forward. They tried a few slip balls in as well, which were really good. And we started to look more settled in the game towards the end of the first half. Aberdeen were pressing Rangers, and as soon as we got the ball, they were trying to push us high up the park. We were still doing that ridiculous thing of playing it out from the back and just kicking it away because that nothing was really on, and we didn't adapt to that quick enough. But Scotia, for the rest of that half, there wasn't much in it.
No, I thought after we scored, we grew into it. I thought Aberdeen, the first 20 minutes overall, were the better team, and then after that, up until half time, we were probably the better team. I would maybe slightly disagree with you about the Rebo shape tool. I think it was someone we needed further back because it did take Sands.
That's only because you're a Hadji fanboy, mate. That's the only reason.
No, not really. No, honest to God, it's not. It's because it took Sands a wee while to grow into the game. You know, and in Aberdeen away is maybe not the best time to bring an American player in to play a game that's going to be that scrappy, you know, like Ryan mentioned. But I did think Sands grew into it. But I think we were missing someone in the middle of the pitch. Steve Davis would be the perfect example. Because I didn't think Kamara was completely at it today either. Certainly not in that first 20 minutes. Maybe because it was playing behind Sands. But yeah, I thought coming up to with Sands playing a wee bit better, I thought we were growing into it a wee bit more. Aberdeen weren't offering much. We weren't doing much either, though, in complete honesty. I think the front four that were playing it at times looked as if they would just get away with it, but it all just broke down at the last sort of ball or something like that. And we've seen that before where it just doesn't quite click. And I think that's what we were having in that sort of last 25 minutes of the first half.
Yeah, as Aberdeen did trying to get stuff going though, and Sands had a few passes, Ryan, there was a few times that he did really well with stopping the play.
Yeah, I'm probably like, I read a few messages on the group chat, and obviously you have had your view on Sands, how he played. I think he intercepted play well. I didn't see much else from him. I thought the game passed him by. I've got to be honest. I did expect him to be coming off the pitch as the first substitution. But yeah, he intercepted play well a few times, but that was a tough game for him to play. That was a very tough game for him to be introduced to Scottish football. And his teammates didn't do him many favours either because, as you said, Rangers they were the better team at the end of the second half, but there was a serious lack of quality from both teams in the final third. Like, there'd be a wee bit of build-up play and just nothing came to it, the final ball, or just a real lack of quality. So, yeah, you cut him slack. He's only started his career this evening with Rangers, but I do feel the game did pass him by.
Yeah, before we move on from the first half, I am going to go back to talking about Mr. Clancy. I'm sorry, lads. McCrory has a bit of a late one on Sands. Probably a booking, but I mean, it's one of them ones that you could get away with. You maybe not. Scott Brown's then booked for pretty much upending Ryan Kent, and he should be immediately sent off after this, in my opinion, because he collapsed the referee. The only reason that I'm saying that, and it sounds pretty petty, if Alfredo Morelos does that, Alfredo Morelos gets sent off the park. It's one rule for one and one rule for another, and this is just the start of the massive Clancy-shaped iceberg. And Tav is booked for winning the ball. To me, it looks like he won the ball. I'm not 100% sure. A bit of a high foot from Tav, but yeah, Clancy's pretty much desperate to be the centre of attention and just books him because that's just what he does. He's booked the Aberdeen captain, so he has to book the Rangers captain. And that pretty much sums up the half, really. Battles going on. Rangers were getting the better of it to a certain extent. But again, I was just a wee bit worried with the ease sometimes that Aberdeen will be able to get down our flanks. That was the biggest bit for me. So we'll just get into the second half. Scott Brown then has a volley. I think it reached the North Sea. His volley from about 12 miles over the bar. But again, Aberdeen started the better of the second half, and that was kind of a theme of the half. I'm not going to lie, lads. I am very disappointed in the way Rangers played that second half. I don't feel like we offered enough. I don't think anybody really took control of that game, and I don't think it was inevitable what we're about to come on and talk to. But it wasn't good enough. It's just not good enough. In games like that, when it's only 1-0, you have to come out and you have to try and finish that game. And somebody on that pitch has to take control. And I don't think we did. Scotia, would you agree with that at the start of the second half?
Yeah, I think there's only 2 or 3 moments in that second half that Rangers actually done anything of note. And like the first one was when we got a free kick with Kamara. And I think he slides it down to Kent, pass to Hadji to Morelos, over to right slides it into Tav coming running in. That was, up until that point, we hadn't done anything, and then it took us an absolute age to do anything else of note in the game either. We weren't good enough. At half time, I'm like, right, we could do a wee bit more, and it was completely opposite of what I expected.
Yeah, Ryan, do you think... I don't think Gio's thinking this, and I honestly don't, but it kind of looked like we were content with 1-0 and we were going to try and see it out. And look, Aberdeen did have quite a fair bit of possession. They didn't do very much with it. It was half chances at best. There was no clear-cut opportunity where you would expect a goal, but it was a disappointing start to the half and rest of the half for Rangers.
Rangers get poorer and poorer as the game went on. I felt they really did. And I didn't see it changing. That was the worrying thing. I think just touching back on what we said about missing Aribo, I think we missed that player, whether it was Aribo or Arfield, that links the midfield to the strikers. I just felt any time we had possession, there was such a gap between the midfielders and the strikers. Like you've seen Alfie dropping, which we don't like. Alfie dropping really deep quite a lot, and he was out on the right hand side a few times, and I don't like Alfie there. Get him in the middle, create chances for him. I think we just got poorer as the game went on, really struggled to get into the game, and that just gave Aberdeen fire. Like, they're a poor team. I said in the preview pod that Aberdeen will be up for this. It's a kind of place you go to, and they always up the gears against Rangers. I don't think they upped the gears. I think they played as well as they probably played all season. Just standard Aberdeen performance, but it was good enough to get a draw, which was deserved, unfortunately, against us tonight. And that's how poor we were. We gifted them that. Like tonight, we totally put it in a plate. If you want a point, we're here for it. We just got poorer and poorer as the game went on, and I just unfortunately didn't see it changing as the second half went on.
No, definitely not. It was still a bit of a battle in the game. We still nobody could really... Well, Aberdeen were quite content to have possession, but it was more towards the end of their half and then the start of our half. It wasn't really pressured possession. They were quite happy to have it, and as again, Rangers seemed quite happy to allow them to do so. Then Clancy gets himself involved again. A free kick's awarded for Scott Brown diving. Scott Wright slides in. He's literally sliding. Brown just falls over, and I genuinely expected a free kick to go the other way if he was going to blow for a free kick at all. I didn't think it was a free kick, but somehow Clancy's come out with the fact that this is a free kick to Aberdeen. Again, truly baffling that this man's allowed to referee games. Kent is his first involvement in the second half after a bit of a Hollywood pass for Goldson. His first touch is sublime, but his end product is not, as it's all wrong. Scott Wright then comes off for John Lundstrom, and Rangers have moved to a 4-3-3 with Hadji put out wide. Scotia, this substitution made zero sense to me.
Worst substitution we could have made, I think. Yeah. Particularly the way that we pulled Hadji out right as well. It just completely nullifies what Hadji can do, particularly in a game like that. No, it was completely the wrong substitution. And like Ryan was saying, I maybe expected it to be a Sands coming off for Lundstrom rather than that, or bring a Sakalo on for a right. But no, that was completely the wrong substitution in my book.
Yeah, Ryan, would you go along with that? I didn't get it.
A bizarre substitution. I don't think we've actually criticised you for anything, but that was the wrong substitution. I think he'll probably agree in hindsight now as well. Sakala looked like a natural substitution for me. Bring him on, bit of pace. He's very good at dropping deep and running with the ball. That's what I thought we were struggling with. Wright got a few chances to do it tonight, but yeah, it was a bizarre substitution. However, to give Lundstrom credit, I thought Lundstrom did okay when he came on. I thought he had a few nice touches, and he did his job that he was asked to do. But yeah, a strange into the wrong substitution by Gio.
Yeah, Lundstrom did do well when he came on. I think he won his battle that he had to win. I think he'd done exactly what he was told to put on and do. But we've said it a million times on this pod. Hadji offers nothing when he's put out there. Literally nothing. He can't hold the ball up. He can't turn a player because he doesn't have the pace. It's just the wrong place, in my opinion, for Hadji to be playing. If anything, I would have maybe moved Kent inside, put Sakala on, put Sakala out on the left. And give Kent a bit of space in the middle. Something like that, I don't know. As I say, I'm no tactics expert by a long shot, but yeah, that one for me, I was like, I actually thought at one point it was going to be a 4-5-1. I was like, my God, that's desperate. Do you know what I mean? You're holding on a 1-0 win against Aberdeen, come on. But obviously it wasn't. It was a 4-3-3. Yeah, just a strange substitution, a very strange one, but it's no, I agree with what you said. Ryan, that's no disrespect to Lundstrom because I think he did his job when he came on. Rangers were still struggling to keep the ball up the pitch. We're into the last 20 minutes, and then Aberdeen are awarded a penalty for a handball from Alfredo Morelos. Absolutely no complaints from me. Ferguson scores, and it's one each. Scotia, I again hate to sound like Alistair, but I thought, well, the best we'll do is a draw here.
Yeah, when that happened, yeah, no complaints with the penalty, but as soon as it went in, I was like, oh, no, it's just going to be this kind of night where, yeah, that's it for us, because we hadn't offered enough going forward, and like we say, that change kind of, it stops us playing, because at this point, had Hadji even come off at this point? I don't think he had. I think he was still playing out wide right.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we were, as soon as that happened, it was like, no, and it's at that stage of the game, you've only got, realistically, you've only got about 13, 15 minutes left to do anything. You knew that it was kind of that night.
Yeah, well, considering we had 0 shots on target, I think in that half up to that point, then Ryan, I wasn't feeling the most positive about it.
Nah, not at all, and I totally agree with you. I didn't have any complaints about the penalty, although my son did text me and said Morelos an idiot. I don't blame Morelos for it either. It looked as if it was one of those ones where he couldn't really get out of the way of it. Maybe I'm just cutting him a bit of slack, but I do feel as if it was just one of those ones. We put ourselves in that position by not getting the second goal. We all know, we've seen this under the previous regime. If you don't get your second goal, the other team will always get a chance. You'll always get a chance. And we've been stung. So we deserve what we got. I think we all said that in the group chat. We deserve what we got. And unfortunately, I'm usually quite positive about Rangers if it goes to one each, but I didn't feel we were going to win that game tonight. When it went one each, I was like, that's it. At best, we'll get a draw here. If anything, Aberdeen will get another one, and I don't usually feel that, but that shows how badly we played tonight.
Yeah, especially the second half. I genuinely think Aberdeen required a penalty or a free kick in a very dangerous area to score. I don't think they would have scored from open play. They didn't offer that much. They really didn't. So I think they did need that penalty, and they definitely got their tails up and didn't get our tails down as such. I think we still did quite well in defending, if that makes sense. We still managed to kind of keep on top of it, even though with the absolute shit show that we're about to speak about. Ryan, you mentioned earlier as well about the dark arts, and I've actually noted it down. Just put Aberdeen doing the dark arts much better than we are. Every time we got near to them, a touch on the back, anything they went down, and Clancy was giving it. Rangers don't do that, and we need to start doing that more. It's just one of those things, like to break up the play. And it works every time, especially by a referee like Clancy, who's just desperate to blow his whistle and be on the telly. That's literally the only reason the guy's a referee, I think. It's just, oh, I've got a whistle, I can make noise, and I might see my face in the telly tonight. And that's literally all Clancy is. Morelos, to be fair, is a great effort with a volley, but it's saved from loose. I really unlucky Alfredo Morelos with this one. I say he connected with it pretty well, and Lewis got up to get there, and then Rangers are then down to 10 men. Gets a dive from Scott Brown. Clancy buys it. Kent gets his second yellow and he's off. I said it earlier, Scotia, the only thing that Scott Brown has is his lack of class. He's not a good football player. And we've let him get at us tonight. We've let him somehow let this imposter of a football player get one of our men sent off. I know Clancy obviously has bought into it and it's worked for him, but the tone was set very early for me with Clancy and Brown tonight, and yeah, I don't want to put my tin pot hat on, mate. I really don't.
No, well, I think I messaged you guys after about 8 or 10 minutes saying guaranteed that someone's getting sent off in this game tonight, because it had it written all over it. And it's because it is Clancy, and it's because, you know, that way, good referees are referees that you don't speak about and you don't notice, and the game goes. Clancy's one of these referees. Every single time we have Clancy as a referee, he's talked about. And it's been going on for years and years. Scott Brown, you know, dives to get that foul, get him sent off. And like I was saying to you before we came on air, Scott Brown was once a very, very good football player. Very, very good, maybe a bit strong, but he was a very good football player at one point. But you know,
you're going to get slaughtered for that.
Yeah, I know. Well, no, mine's when we were signing Brown and Thompson. Yeah, I wanted both of them.
I know.
So I'm not going to go back and say that I didn't want him. I thought he was a good footballer at that time. Since then, though, he's depreciated in value, and like you say, he's just turned into this kind of wind-up merchant. But he does it all the time against us, and he's very intelligent doing it against us all the time against us, because we fall for it every single time, it seems to be. So, to be honest, can you blame him if it's going to work?
No, you can't. You can't blame him. You honestly can't. Look, I know, right? I'm pretty sure Giovanni Van Bronckhorst is furious with the team tonight, and I'm pretty sure he's furious with the ref. We haven't seen the post-match reactions from the camp recorded pretty much at full time. But Ryan Kent's first booking, it's about handbags. Johnny Hayes is the one that approaches him. He's not booked him for the foul. And he's definitely not booked him for the push that he did on Johnny Hayes, because he already had his card out. He'd already made the decision that he was booking Ryan Kent. So it's two soft bookings. The second one especially just isn't a booking, because it's barely even a foul, if a foul. So, yeah, Clancy's just shambolic.
The last time I seen it's funny because Kevin Clancy gave 2 yellow cards to Ryan Kent today and managed to send him off, which is the rules. If you book someone twice, you send them off. So to give Kevin Clancy a bit of credit, he's obviously developing his game, because the last time I seen him give 2 yellow cards to somebody was Scott Brown, and he failed to send them off at Parkhead. So he's improving, Kevin Clancy. So let's not be too harsh on him. He's a shocking referee. He's an absolute shocking referee, and we all know what we're going to get from him when he is refereeing our games. But I don't want to touch on Scott Brown too much. You need to be cleverer. You need to be cleverer than that. He is not. I've said it 100 times about I'm not being a good footballer. He's there. He turns up against Rangers to wind them up, and he's done it game after game, and these players fall for it. And I don't understand why nobody just kind of walks up to him. I seen him and Tav having a wee kind of a word with each other, and Tavian must be looking at him going, "Listen, you're a failed 10 in a row captain. Like, that's why you're playing with Aberdeen, son. Like, get your hands off me." And I hope that's what Tavernier said to him. But he's a joke figure, but we also kind of make a fool of ourselves the way we act, and we should never be getting angry over something like that. He failed last year and he knows it. But he seems to be out with an agenda. I don't think he's looking for 3 points or a result against Rangers. I think he's just out to get somebody sent off, and he's achieved it tonight, and his friend Mr. Clancy's helped him along with it.
Yeah, absolutely. He's absolutely helped him along with it. And as I say, Rangers kind of dropped to a 4-4-1 really at this point. Aberdeen do very little. They don't really have a great chance, a clear-cut chance, and neither do we. And the game peters out rather, and it's a 1-each draw. Again, it's disappointing. It's not the return we wanted from the winter break. Not really. It was just so underwhelming. The second half especially was just so underwhelming for me. It was nowhere near the standards that we need to be playing at. It really isn't. So it's unfortunate that it's happened like that. But I suppose it is what it is, and at least a 10-man Rangers team have still managed to come out with a draw. Scotia, can you pick a man of the match?
Honestly, can't. I've been looking through it, and I'm like, no. I think No, honest to God, I can't. Yeah, so I'll just need to say no. No man in match.
Say no, yeah. I'm struggling too. Ryan, have you got a man of the match?
I have, yeah. I thought it was a player who played very well tonight, and I know he'll be surprised at me saying that, but I thought he won almost every header and every tackle. I thought he was really good tonight. It's Connor Goldson. I thought he did a lot of good things right, and just continuing his form under Gio. I thought he was good, and I know it's hard to be positive about anyone after a performance like that because they've really let us down and they've let Gio down tonight. But no, it's Connor Goldson. I thought he played well tonight.
Yeah, I'll give you that, mate. I would say even Bassey as well, actually, on reflection when you're thinking about it. And I know we'll think about it more with clear heads. This is obviously very raw. It's just after the game, and I'm so furiously pissed off at Kevin Clancy. I'm trying to keep it together. So, but yeah, Bassey and Goldson, yeah, it's probably a shout there, mate, to be honest. As I say, I mean, Barisic was good in spells. Again, his defending was a wee bit dodgy at times. Tav again struggled sometimes as well, but was solid enough. But there was not a real shining light in an attacking sense anyway. Apart from Ryan Kent's delivery and Hadji's finish, that's pretty much the only positive of a forward play that we can take from today. Anyway, gentlemen, never easy when it's a disappointing result, but thank you for your time, Scotia. Thank you very much, mate.
Yeah, thank you. I'm looking forward to all these pelters I'm going to get in the comments for what I said about Brown there.
You probably will, mate, to be honest. Yes, you probably will.
I'll hide for a few days.
Yeah, it won't be as bad as when Ryan disrespected Aston Villa. Ryan literally had to move house. Ryan, thank you very much for your time, mate.
Cheers. I had half a Birmingham after me after that pod. That was a good laugh. No, cheers for that. I mean, it's a hard one to take tonight, but I think we will look back on this and I mean, it was Livingston away, Hibs away, Hearts away, and Aberdeen away. And if you'd said at the beginning of that, you'll drop 2 points, you would have taken it. And it is a tough one to take. And we played poorly tonight, but do you know what? We can end them if we go to Celtic Park and win. That's the way I'm looking at it. We're 4 points clear and we're still top of the league, boys.
Exactly, mate, and we are still unbeaten under Gio. That is something to take away from tonight. So, shameless plug from me. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like the videos, give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcast, leave a comment, follow our socials. It supports us and helps us to get out there as many Rangers fans as possible. You can also join the channel for only 99p. You'll be help supporting this podcast to grow and get even better. And you can also buy the podcast a coffee if you don't want to subscribe. Just like Nick did today, who he's a Wolves fan, and he's shown some of the Rangers faithful up by the coffee buying. So surely we can't be having that, Bears. Come on. I'm only kidding. Thank you very much, Nick. Really do appreciate that. Right, we'll be back later in the week with a preview pod ahead of the game against Stirling Albion, our return to Ibrox after the winter break. As I said, still unbeaten in the league under Gio. That's something, I suppose. Wasn't the night we were all expecting, but it's football. Sometimes these things happen. And haste you back, Joe Aribo. We are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast, and I'll speak to you all next time. Cheers, everyone.